my topic is using restorative practices to address students' experiences of racism at UB School of Social Work. So the problem, like what I said, I'm focused on is really students' experiences of racism at UB. When I think about this problem, this is not just isolated to UB. It's happening everywhere in all universities and all different systems. So I looked at data that was previously collected. Two data sets I looked at was the Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Survey, which was conducted in September 2020. It was completed by faculty, staff, and PhD students and candidates, and the MSW end-of-year surveys as well. And looking at the surveys, I just really focused on themes related to race and racism. Just some of the key points I found were really kind of looking at the first 3 bullet points for the DEI survey, that 65% of the respondents said that they witnessed or experienced racism within the school, that there hasn't been any clear guidance on how to report experiences of racism, and really a lack of support for Black or African American students along with other students of color. With that, how do we address this? The way I was thinking of addressing this is looking at a restorative justice approach through restorative conversations. So I wanted to just give you a little bit of an overview of what the implementation process and the timeline through this capstone. So like what I said, in fall of 2020, PhD students and candidates wrote this open letter. The Racial Justice Network was created. And through the Racial Justice Network, I was able to identify maybe one of the problems to focus on, which is students' experiences of racism. And was able to identify that through the letter and through the initiative, just thinking about restorative practices as a way to solve or help repair the harm. So that leads us to spring 2021, where Associate Dean Elsie created the process, shared this process with faculty, staff, and students, got feedback on it, made edits. And during this time, we were using implementation science and looking at different strategies to support how do we get students to know about this process? How do we get faculty and staff to know about this process and get trained in it? Along with identifying barriers and facilitators, meaning what might be some reasons why students and staff don't want to use this and what might be some ways to support this. Then it leads, so over the summer, we created a training and orientation for all faculty, staff, and students. And we presented it in different meetings, in different classes. During this time, I gathered survey data about people's experience and their thoughts about the process. So you can see I got about 136 participants to complete the surveys throughout the university or through the program. I want to acknowledge also the importance of hearing folks' stories. So we held 2 listening sessions to get feedback about the process that maybe you're not able to capture in the surveys. So we held 2 listening sessions with about 3 students each, which then brings us to here. Over the past semester, I've done some data analysis, did the write-up, and we are here today during the showcase. I'm a social worker, so I want to use obviously a strengths-based perspective. This is really a starting point to address experiences of racism. It can help build and rebuild community and healing, and this process has been used this year.